So today I am going to be working on the 8th part of the Arduino starter kit. It's titled Digital Hourglass. So what I was doing earlier was I was plugging in this tilt sensor through a 10k ohm resistor to ground, and then plugging in through a normal wire to the power. And then there's going to be 6 LEDs here that will work as each one will one at a time light up depending on how much time has passed. So it's kind of like a stopwatch hourglass. So yeah, I'll keep working on that then. So for each one, we're gonna use a 220 ohm resistor to go to ground. Then we'll connect the power or one of the pins using other wires, normal wire. Okay, that guy's in, sort of. It's in, so we're gonna start with pin 2. Let's take another 220 ohm resistor, put that guy into ground, connect this to pin 3. Okay, one. Okay, and we have 2 more to go. Six. And lastly, one goes to pin 7. Okay, so all the LEDs are connected here. Yeah, okay, so all the LEDs are connected. Lastly, we need to connect the tilt sensor as well to pin 8. Okay. Now that that's done, let's move on to the code. Okay, so let's do this. Once again, we are going to define our pin for the switch. And then this time we're going to use a new type of number. So unsigned refers to just a positive number, and then long refers to the amount of bits that can be put into the number. So like an integer can only store up to, I believe, 8 bits. Float can go to 16, and then long goes to 32, I'm pretty sure. So basically it's just it can become a larger number. Okay, wait. An integer is 16 bits. So then long must be 32. So it's just a different type of number. It tells the computer that it needs more memory to store it. So, still just declaring variables that we will need. So it looks like we're gonna have a time, a switch state, a previous switch state, which is probably going to be used with the tilt sensor to make it so flick on when it changes like its orientation by flipping, quite literally flipping the board, and so forth. So okay, so for setup, we're gonna set up all of the LEDs as outputs, and then the switch pin, the tilt sensor as an input. So let's do that. So pin mode switch pin input, and then we're gonna do a cool trick for the LEDs. Since we know it goes from pins 2 to 7, 2 through 7. What we can do is we can say int I equals 0, I using a for loop. So once again, the for loop, the first part, it says, okay, what variable do we want to increment, and then from where. So we're gonna say we want to start from 0, and then we're gonna say we're gonna go in between while I is less than 8, or we could do less than or equal to 7. It doesn't matter. And then I++ saying we're going to increment by 1 at the end of each for loop. And then we're going to do pin mode I. So wait, sorry. So we want I to start at 2 actually, because our first pin is 2. And then we're going to make each one be an output. Okay, so let's do this. Into our loop now. So we're gonna do another unsigned long. Current time equals millis, which is just the Arduino board's built-in time function. It stores how long it's been running for. We're gonna say if current time is minus previous time is greater than interval, we will set the previous time to be equal to the current time. So since this is an hourglass, we're going to have each LED light up after 10 minutes. So the interval being 60,000 milliseconds refers to 10 minutes. So we're saying once the current time is greater than, so previous time is originally 0. So once current time reaches 10 minutes, then we will set previous time to be 10 minutes. So then current time needs to hit 20 minutes in order for it to flicker again. So that's cool. And then I believe we will now turn on one of the, so we are going to turn on one of the LEDs. So by doing digital write LED, which we declared up here as 2. So the first LED, and then I'm going to turn that on, and then we will increment LED, so that the next time it runs, it'll turn on the next LED instead. Okay. And lastly, we'll add another if statement. So if LED equals the last one, 7, then we should do something. And I think what I'll have it do is reset LED to 2, and then it'll run through again. So if current time so then it'll start over again, which is cool. So outside of this, what we will do is we will read the switch state by digital reading the switch pin, and then we will make a new if statement. So if switch state does not equal the previous switch state, so if the orientation is different, we will turn off all of the LEDs. So once again, we will do a for loop using the same syntax. I less than 8, I plus plus, and then we will do digital write I low, like so. And then we will reset LED to 2, and then we will set previous time to be equal to current time. So it essentially zeroes out the time. And lastly, we will say previous switch date equals switch date, so that it's now updated. So then if we flip it again, then it knows. So that's all done. Let's test it out, but for the sake of demonstration, let's change it so instead of it being 10-minute per interval, let's do maybe, okay, so 1 minute, let's do 30 seconds. We'll do 30 seconds just to demonstrate, so we don't have to wait 10 minutes to see one LED turn on. In fact, let's even do 15 seconds or 10 seconds. So it'll be like a minute glass, I guess. So it's sort of working. I did 1 second instead of 10 seconds. So it turns on one by one, depending on how long it's been. For some reason, the pin 7 one wasn't turning on. So okay, why is it? I think this needs to be 8. And then what we should do is should also add in to turn all the LEDs off. Actually, I know what I can do. Never mind. Let's just do it this way. Let's try this. So then after the end of a minute, it turns it all off. For the sake of debugging, let's change this to 1 second so then we can do this really quick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the last one's still not turning on. So why is that? let's see if that works. Okay, so yeah, the tilt switch does work. So it has to do with this plus plus and then this if statement. So an LED is 7 increment. So we want to put this at the end. And then probably it'll light up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, the last one lights up. Oh. Okay, I see. Well, that's... Oh, so, okay, so what's happening is it's going through this if, and then it's doing this again. So, we can get around it by just setting LED to 1 here. So it's like a brute force solution, sort of. And there you go. So if I change this back to the longer time, it'll be easier to show how the tilt switch works. So there, after 10 seconds, one of them turns on. So then say like I just want to reset the timer, I can just flip the board, and or tilt the switch. Or just flick it, I guess. Just any way of resetting the tilt sensor, and then it should start over. There. So looks like just giving it a little flick is a good way of resetting it. Yeah, so the idea is you can make this into an hourglass by changing this to the appropriate 10-minute interval. Yeah. And that's pretty much it for this then. Thank you for watching the 8th part of my Arduino starter kit guide. So I had some microphone issues at the start of the stream, so sorry about that. The first part had to be cut out, but as I mentioned earlier, I was basically just plugging in the LEDs and plugging in the tilt sensor into the board. But the rest of the stream should have been fine, so hopefully it was good. And yeah, so next week I will return with the 9th project. So that should be exciting and fun. So make sure you like, follow, and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. And yeah, thank you for watching.